Good evening, and welcome to your AI Daily Press evening podcast for October 13, 2025. First, we're looking at the critical issue of women's health. Our special report highlights the alarming disparities in healthcare for women, which not only affects their well-being, but also has significant economic implications. We spoke with Liz Powell, founder of Women's Health Advocates, who emphasized the need for collaboration and education to address these disparities. Next, we're following the developments in French politics, where Prime Minister Laurent is facing a critical test of his government's survival. The opposition parties are resisting the proposed budget, and the country's political landscape is uncertain. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it unfolds. Finally, we're analyzing the surprise requests from U.S. President Donald Trump to Israeli President Isaac Herzog to pardon Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over corruption allegations. This move has sparked controversy, with some seeing it as an attempt to interfere with Israel's internal affairs. Our reporters are gathering reactions from Israeli officials, opposition leaders, and international observers. These stories and more will be explored in depth on our podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you again soon. That's all for now. Good night and goodbye. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and Nanshul and know what's right now. First, we took a look at the unexpected success of Japan's mascot character, Kumamoto, which has brought joy and unity to the community. However, in our articles, we actually discussed three different topics: the Gaza conflict summit, the U.S. government shutdown, and the U.S.-China trade dispute. To summarize, the Gaza conflict summit is underway, with world leaders gathering to discuss a peaceful resolution. The absence of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has changed the dynamics, but there's still hope for progress. We're also seeing reports of a potential breakthrough in hostage negotiations. In the United States, the government shutdown is now in its 13th day, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warning of far-reaching consequences for the economy. Meanwhile, the U.S.-China trade dispute may be easing, with indications of substantial communications between the two sides and a potential meeting between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. These stories highlight the complexities of our interconnected world and the need for thoughtful, informed reporting. We'll continue to monitor these developments and bring you updates as more information becomes available. That's all for now. Thank you for joining us this evening. Until next time, good night, and we'll keep you updated on these developing stories. This is Barbara Waters reporting. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, J.P. Morgan Chase announced a $500 billion plan to invest in critical U.S. industries, aiming to reduce dependence on foreign entities for essential materials and technologies. This move is expected to bolster national security, create jobs, and stimulate growth in these areas. Secondly, Tata Capital, a leading non-banking financial company, made its debut on the stock market with a relatively subdued listing, opening at a 0.6% premium over the issue price. Despite this, analysts remain optimistic about the company's growth prospects, citing its strong parentage, diversified product mix, and improving financial profile. Lastly, we touched on the trend of private sector entities taking proactive roles in supporting national interests, potentially redefining the boundaries between corporate strategy and national policy. This shift is evident in J.P. Morgan's plan and may have far-reaching implications for the global economic landscape. That's all for tonight's summary. Tune in tomorrow for more in-depth analysis and coverage of these developing stories. Until then, thank you for listening to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. First, SpaceX is gearing up for a critical test of its Starship program, which aims to return humans to the moon by 2025. The test will focus on the rocket's reusability, precision landing, and ability to withstand the harsh conditions of space travel. Next, we take you to the icy surface of Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons, where scientists have discovered new evidence that suggests it could harbor life. A recent study has detected several organic compounds in the moon's plumes, providing fresh clues about its interior chemical composition and potential for supporting life. Finally, we'll give you an update on the latest developments in space technology, including a new landing technique being tested by SpaceX and the detection of essential elements for life on Enceladus. As we explore the vast expanse of our solar system, we're reminded of the awe-inspiring mysteries that still await us. The search for life beyond Earth is an ongoing journey, full of wonder, discovery, and the promise of unlocking the secrets of our universe. In the words of Carl Starman, somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. Join us as we delve into these stories and more on tonight's AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Firstly, we looked at the remarkable career of Tampa Bay Buccaneers' quarterback Tom Brady, who has been making waves with his consistent performance on the field. However, our article focused on Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, but we also touched upon Tom Brady's greatness in comparison to other quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Secondly, we reported on the University of Alabama at Birmingham's decision to part ways with their head football coach, Trent Dilfer. This move has sparked interest, particularly with UAB alum and former Atlanta Falcons All-Pro receiver Roddy White, expressing his desire to take over the position. We explored the implications of this transition and what it might mean for the program's future. Lastly, we paid tribute to Jim Kelly Jr., a legendary figure in college football who left an indelible mark on the Cincinnati Bearcats community. As a player, broadcaster, and devoted family man, Kelly's legacy extends far beyond his impressive playing career, and his contributions will be deeply felt by generations to come. These stories showcase the ever-competitive nature of sports, where results are paramount, and the impact that individuals can have on their communities. That's all for tonight's summary on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, goodbye. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curl.
Thank you, Howard. Firstly, we reported on a tragic incident in South Africa where a young boy was involved in a fatal shooting accident. The details of this case are still emerging, but it's a stark reminder of the importance of gun safety and responsible ownership. Next, we covered a disturbing story from Ireland where a local man lost his life in a violent assault outside a bar in Doneraile village. The Garda is investigating the incident, and we urge anyone with information to come forward and cooperate with the authorities. Lastly, we delved into a complex court case in Australia, where a mother has been forced to testify against her son, who is facing serious charges related to the death of his partner. This story raises important questions about justice, family dynamics, and the impact of trauma on individuals and communities. These stories highlight the complexities and challenges that families and communities face when dealing with trauma, violence, and the justice system. As we navigate these difficult issues, it's essential to approach them with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to fairness and balance. That's all for tonight's summary. We'll continue to provide in-depth reporting and analysis on these stories as they unfold. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Until next time, good night, and please take care. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. I'm your host, Joan. We've got a lot to catch up on, so let's dive right in. In our first story, we're saying goodbye to a Hollywood legend, the incomparable Diane Keaton. Her passing has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, and we're taking a moment to reflect on her remarkable life and career. From her iconic collaborations with Woody Allen to her own unique talents as an actress, writer, photographer, and more, Keaton left an indelible mark on the world of cinema. We also took a closer look at Bradley Cooper's heartwarming journey into fatherhood. The actor has been opening up about how his daughter Leah has changed his life and influenced his career choices. It's clear that he's prioritizing his role as a dad, and we love seeing him use his platform to promote positive values and responsible parenting. And finally, we explored the fascinating partnership between Woody Allen and Diane Keaton, which yielded some of the most beloved films of our time. Their creative and personal relationship was truly one of a kind, and we're revisiting some of their most iconic collaborations, including Annie Hall, Manhattan, and Radio Days. That's all for tonight, folks. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the AI Daily Press podcast. Until next time, good night and stay informed. If you'd like to hear more about these stories or catch up on previous episodes, be sure to check out our website or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. We'll see you tomorrow. Now for the latest in nature and environment. Here is David at Nature.
Thank you, Joan. Here's a brief summary of our recent reports. We've been covering some critical stories that highlight the urgent need for conservation and responsible management of our planet's ecosystems. Firstly, we exposed the alarming trend of biodiversity loss due to human actions, particularly in the case of pangolins, which are being hunted to extinction for their scales and meat. We highlighted the international efforts underway to protect these unique creatures and the importance of raising awareness about the ecological significance of preserving biodiversity. Next, we dove into the icy waters of Antarctica to investigate the fate of Antarctic krill, a tiny crustacean that plays a massive role in the ocean's ecosystem. The recent lapse of a key conservation measure has raised concerns about overfishing and devastating impacts on predator populations like penguins, seals, and whales. Lastly, we touched on the issue of conservation versus economic interests, as seen in the case of krill fisheries management in the Southern Ocean. Our experts emphasized the need for proactive, ecosystem-based management to balance the needs of both predators and fisheries. These stories serve as a stark reminder of the impact human actions can have on the natural world and the urgent need for collective responsibility. We urge policymakers, industry leaders, and individuals to work together towards a more sustainable future. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and let's work together to protect our planet's precious ecosystems. That's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David at for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.